Good morning, AtoZSports, Nashville. Rise and shine. It's your boy Easton Freeze. I'm with
Loud
JT
this
Rookie.
morning.
Listen, we got to bring the energy. We got to bring the juice this morning. It's time to rise and shine. We got a great show to get after. We got a great day to get after. Looking forward to our discussion today on the first overall draft pick, on Cam Ward and his attitude, and my 2 cents on that topic that you and Austin discussed yesterday. I have some thoughts. I wrote an article about it at AtoZSports.com yesterday. Heard from Mike McCoy and a member of the young players contingent and a member of the older players contingent. Talked to some people inside the building, some people outside the building. I feel like I covered every base there is to cover on that front. And I think it's an interesting discussion that we won't have to completely redo on today's show. But I think tying it up with a bow with what I heard from folks yesterday, and then me just kind of sharing my 2 cents. We'll do that at the end of the show. We won't lead today's show with that. The lead today is how and if the Titans can get the first overall pick back, of course, after they won against the Browns. It ticked a whole lot of people off. Quick anecdote, I was at Target in Brentwood last night for Sebastian Joseph Day's charity event where he had a group of kids, an after-school program, the name of which I am forgetting. So apologies to them.
It's on the top of my tip of my tongue. I don't remember.
You can go find it.
Backfield in Motion.
Backfield in Motion. Thank you so much. Backfield in Motion is a local group. They have like 800 kids in an after-school program in various schools around the city. And Sebastian Joseph Day has been partnering with them a lot this year to do things for those kids. Did a Halloween event and gave them all Halloween costumes and candy. And then last night he gave them all gift cards at Target to spend half on themselves for a Christmas present and then half on their family to give a gift to somebody that they love. And it was a very cool event. And as I was watching Sebastian and the kids interact, and of course we were in the toy aisle the entire time, digging around for the best toys and Roblox gift cards, very popular amongst the children. There was a mix amongst the kids of kids asking Sebastian, "Why won't you guys win more games? Why do you stink?" Which was hilarious. And then some of them were like, "Please don't win any more games." So it's a real divide we've got going right now, even amongst the youth. But it's amongst the adults as well, perhaps a little louder amongst the adults, especially those online. Am I frozen? Can you hear me? Hello?
I
have the stupidest face ever on the screen. Why does... What's going on?
It cannot not be a phone it in Tuesday if Easton, oh my goodness. Okay, you know what, we're going to remove him from the stage. Easton is in the stream with audio only right now.
You can hear me though.
Nonetheless, I can hear you.
And I had this was such a perfect anecdote to, as Clayton says in the comments, this show stinks. You're right. It does
stink.
I can't disagree with you.
It's Phone in Tuesday, people. What a more perfect anecdote for Titans fans than right now. Even the children are
and we're back. And now we just need to There we go.
Okay.
We're good
now. We're good. Good morning, as Eric says, Charmin. We asked, just like this show production this morning. So far, Jason says you have that Temu internet connection. Either way, good to see all of you guys this morning.
I think it's a StreamYard thing. I'm going to throw StreamYard under the bus because I don't think it's a me thing.
Okay. Well,
I don't have any evidence for that.
We'll let you.
That's just what my gut says.
We'll let you take that.
Anyways, the point that I was trying to make that got completely derailed by Temu internet is that people are really divided on whether this team should win more games or lose more games. And they have 4 of them left. And they currently sit in the 3rd position if the season ended today. But there is a way for them to get back into the 1st position. We'll talk about how that can happen and whether we think it will happen here at the top of the show. So all of that is to say, we got a great show for you today. Aerosmith is here. I don't know. It's like SNL. Like, who's the band that's here for a terrible show like today? What band would be in attendance for this show?
I don't want. I'm not. If I speak, I'm
Smash
sure,
Mouth is here. We got a great show for you today. JT, tell the folks what they need to do.
Yeah, Austin says, how is it that Easton is the only one with issues? That
Austin, when you're not on the show, go away. You're not helping. Go away.
Either way, good to see all of you guys this morning. Bork says it's a folded in Tuesday, a pack it up Tuesday, a phone it in.
Go home Tuesday.
Go home Tuesday, whatever you want it to be. That's what it's going to be today, but we have a good conversation to be had this morning. Need a couple things from you guys. It's a Easton freeze frame Tuesday, as
There
Corey
we go.
coins it.
I
Good
hate
to
that
see
that
all
works.
of you guys this morning. Need a couple of things from you guys before we kick off the show. First and foremost, if you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate you watching over there, and do what your fellow YouTube commenter, King VC, says here with the super chat. Says, lock in, like the show. Appreciate you as always, King, and you guys need to follow suit. Get that like button up. The Titans won a game on Sunday. It's a victory week.
Come on, people.
We need the likes to be up. And so you guys can help out by locking in and liking the show, just like King VC says there. We appreciate you, King. Also, make sure you are subscribed to the show so you don't miss out on any of the content on the A to Z Sports YouTube channel. And then if you're watching on Facebook as well, we appreciate you watching over there. We need a couple things from you guys as well. First and foremost, like the show. Only 30%, 1/3 of the chat on Facebook has liked the show. Unacceptable. And people wonder why I don't read the comments over on Facebook. It's because you guys aren't doing your part. You guys are
I
not
love this
doing
is your
part.
new thing at the top of the show is to give the percentage and just be disappointed.
It's just unacceptable. And so we need you guys to like the show, hit that like button, like the page, share the show with a friend as well so that we can get this going. And with that, Easton, let's kick this thing off.
Welcome in to the A to Z Sports Morning Show live on a Tuesday morning. We're powered by BTA Sports. Live every weekday morning at 8:10 Central Time, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Our links are tweeted out segment by segment on our Twitter feed at AtoZSports, so follow us there. Also follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more Titans coverage, and follow us on Google with the link that we're going to send in the chat here in just a moment. That is something that you can do to improve your search function on your computer or on your phone to get the sources that you want on sports, and it also helps us out because it gets our stuff in front of you more directly. So hit that link and follow us on Google. We appreciate that. Got to thank our sponsors for making the show happen and helping out you all at home. Wilson County Hyundai. Make Wilson County Hyundai a part of your new car buying process in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedics and sports medicine. boneandjointtn.org is where you can find them. Barton Drury Insurance Group. Customized solutions for all of your insurance needs, local and online at bartondrury.com. Botero Carts, life is short, so buy a golf cart with 2 locations to serve you in Columbia and in Gallatin, boterocarts.com. And finally, Window Nation. Take advantage of Window Nation's end-of-year sale through the end of the year. 50% off all window styles. You could get 0% financing for up to 5 years with our friends at Window Nation. So, we're finally off. Technical difficulties are behind us. Fingers crossed.
Someone said anybody but JT this morning. So it sounds like they want frozen Easton Cam this entire morning. I'll leave. I'm
anybody but JT.
I'll leave. So, people are also saying that the AI summary of this so far is spot on, and so I'm gonna go find it while you break down what we're going to be.
Is that a thing on Facebook? Today. They summarize
I guess
the show
on
as
YouTube.
It happens. Oh. It's probably not good. All right.
It says viewers in the chat are commenting on the show's quality and technical issues, particularly those involving Easton. Some viewers are discussing player performance and draft prospects. So, what more could you want this morning?
Thank you, AI.
Sports morning show,
brother.
Oh my God.
The Titans, as we take a peek once again at trusty Tankathon, a thing that I hope I don't have any expectation for this, but I hope that starting next year we can stop being the number one visitors of tankathon.com around these parts. We've been looking at it since before Halloween. The Titans now sit in the 3rd pole position at 2-11. It is a crowded field in the 2 and 3 win category. That's going to change, obviously, when you look at any other past season at the top of the draft. Only a handful of teams mathematically can only be 2 or 3 win teams because these teams have to play each other and wins have to be assigned in the NFL. The top 2 teams still have to play each other. So one of the Giants and the Raiders has to join that 3-win club, which means JT
could always tie.
Well, this is true. This is true. What would that do? That would be best case scenario for the Titans, right?
Yes.
They would jump ahead of both of them. So that would be incredible. I didn't even consider that possibility, which, you never know. The Titans, if they were to lose out, the worst they can do at this point is the second overall pick. So that's the good news here, is if you are team draft pick and you are distraught over the fact that the Titans won this weekend, the worst they can do is second overall. And in a minute, we're going to talk about what that means, what the value of the second overall pick would be, because I think that it shouldn't be discounted, to be honest with you. But let's take a look at what these two teams ahead of the Titans right now have the rest of their seasons. They have a month of football left, just like the Titans do. The Raiders on your left are the team that has the hardest path, and it is the reason why they are today's favorite to get the first overall pick. I unfortunately feel pretty good about. We did a show the week of the bye, JT, and I forget the context, but I basically said on that show, and I tweeted out, like, the Raiders are going to get the first overall pick because I've looked at their schedule. It's hard, and I've also watched them with my eyes. They are the worst team in the NFL. They are. I know the Titans lost to them at one point. At that point, the Titans were the worst team in the NFL. But since then, which was a long time ago, the Raiders are, I think, definitively, without question, the worst team in the NFL. They blow. And they have the benefit of playing the Eagles, who, positivity rabbit didn't work last night. You never know, I suppose. The Texans, who are a defensive juggernaut right now. The Raiders, I might bet the Raiders to score no points in that game. And in Week 18, they play the Chiefs, which one might hope traditionally, like, Week 18 Chiefs game is it's the free space of the NFL calendar, because by then the Chiefs are resting all of their starters for the playoffs. But no, my friend, the Chiefs also stink, and they will be, I'm sure, playing awfully hard that weekend because they're trying to win out to have a coin flip chance to make the playoffs. So for the Raiders side of the equation, you basically need the Raiders somehow, some way to get a home win against the Giants in Week 17, or they're going to get the first overall pick. I feel very good about this.
Yeah, not to mention that it looks like it may be the Kenny Pickett show in Las Vegas the rest of the way, with Geno Smith's injury and that being up in the air still, of course. It's going to be really, really hard for...
Kenny Pickett will fix this. Kenny Pickett will fix this.
Now, I'm not going to say that it's not possible because,
it's the NFL.
It's the NFL. And like we talked about this past weekend after the game, anything can happen down the stretch here. The young players start playing better. Maybe we get our first look at like a bona fide Ashton Genty game that cements him as like being worth that pick. Something crazy could happen. They still have Max Crosby and players like that. So that's all well and good.
The Brock Bowers game, perhaps.
As well. You still need them to win a game, and it's going to be hard to do because you also look on the Giants side of things as well. That's the one I really am not too concerned about. Like, if you're looking for the rooting guide for the Titans outside of them losing out or whatever, I don't feel bad about the Giants side of things because if I'm honest, I think there's a better chance that the Giants win all four of these games than they lose all four.
I like that. Good take.
I certainly think that they can beat the Commanders pretty handily without Jaden Daniels. That's a lost season. What version of 9? Do we see 9 or Nueve this week against the Giants? I don't know.
Is Nueve the good one?
I don't know. The good one? That's up for interpretation. But
I don't think 9 can be the good one. He's been too clowned. That name is besmirched.
Certainly he had a better week last week. Will that continue? I'm certainly not opposed to the Jackson Dart-led Giants being able to win that game. The Raiders one, of course, is the one that it's going to come down to. And then the Cowboys, who knows what's happened by that point, if they've locked up the division, because that race looks to be ever still open there. And this Giants team and the Cowboys always, certainly with it being at home for the Giants, certainly could play spoiler there. This is a Giants team that I think is after the bye looking a lot better. And so bottom line, I think the Giants win at least 2 more games on this schedule that they have here, whether it's the Raiders and the Commanders, maybe it's the Commanders and Vikings. Like, that's your rooting guide. A Giants win against the Commanders, a Giants win against the Vikings, a Raiders win against the Giants, I think. And then, of course, the Titans come back into all of this, but that's the real rooting guide for Titans fans outside of Tennessee for the rest of the way.
Yes, and of course that's the puzzle piece here that we can't overlook. The Titans have to lose out for all of this to matter, and they might
True.
not do that. We'll talk about who they have left, and then we're going to play a clip from interim head coach Mike McCoy on the Titans not suffering from success this week after their big win. That's a thing that has been a problem for them, unfortunately, in recent memory. They are going to try to spin things forward positively as they head to San Francisco. And then we'll ask the first question of the show. We'll kind of draw the picket line here and separate everybody into their different groups. Who is rooting for what? Looking forward to doing all that. But first, let me tell you about our friends at the Bone and Joint Institute. They are the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedics and sports medicine. Whenever you get hurt in life, you have to know who to trust, and we trust our friends at boneandjointtn.org. They're located in Franklin with over a dozen specialists who can help you through any type of injury. They have a state-of-the-art rehab facility on campus to help you with your recovery. They do everything under one roof for your convenience. Clinic, testing, imaging, surgery, rehab. Schedule an appointment today with our friends at boneandjointtn.org.
Yeah, so shout out to our friends over at BTA Sports. The A to Z Morning Show is powered by BTA Sports. Use that code ATOZSports when you download the app to get 14-day free trial. That gets you week, 15 now? Week 15 and week 16 coming up. And then after that, it is just $79.99 for the entire year. So that includes all the way up to week 16 of next year, which is a great deal. And if you are just saying that in itself is a great deal, BTA is only getting bigger and better every single week, bringing quality of life changes, updates, more players to their daily fantasy models and whatnot every single week. And now, upcoming for the 2026 season, they're bringing lines to MLB baseball, which, as you know, Easton, is one of my favorite times of year. So much good to go around with BTA Sports. Once again, use that link in the show description or right below the title on Facebook to sign up. BTA is better for bettors.
I am delighted to begin betting on the Mets downfall instead of just praying on it. Let's hear from interim head coach Mike McCoy about the Titans trying to ruin all of the draft supporters in the chat, ruin their dreams because they're going to try to win some more games. As you astutely pointed out on Twitter yesterday, God love him, Mike looks like your grandparent over Zoom trying to figure out whether you can see them or hear them or not.
Yeah,
yesterday.
Just prefacing these two videos from Mike McCoy. This is not me doing a bad editing job. This is just how he was on the Zoom. He literally looked like my grandparents trying to tell FaceTime in to the family Christmas saying, "Can you hear me? Is this thing on? Is this on? Is it on?" Like, that's what he looked like. So
here he is about winning.
Yeah, you want to enjoy every win in this business. It's never easy. It's tough to win in the NFL week in and week out, but he's a competitor, and Cam wants to be great. He wants to play great every week, and there's times where if you don't play the way he's not going to sugarcoat sometimes what he says and how he plays and his opinion on things. But it's about winning. That's the number one thing, and you always talk to the players about that. Hey, listen. There's going to be the ups and downs. It's not always going to be perfect, but hey, as long as you find a way to win, you learn from it and you move on. That was a great challenge for our offense, and Cam, obviously, with all the man coverage and playing against the best pass rusher and Miles and the way the guys played and kind of neutralized him from the game. But it's about winning, and Cam knows that, but he's a competitor.
So the Titans' remaining schedule, they face the 49ers on the road this week, then they host the Chiefs, then they host the Saints, and then they end the year on the road in Jacksonville, as they, for some reason, always end up doing. One of those games is not like the others, of course. The Saints game at home is going to be a big determiner, not just for the first overall pick, but no matter where the Titans and the Saints land, that game is going to be the difference between a handful of picks for them in the top of the draft. The Saints, by the way, helping the Titans out in a big way this past weekend. The Titans would be fourth in the draft order if it were not for the Saints upsetting the spiraling
Tyler
Buccaneers.
Shuck and the power of friendship right there.
That's right. It was a power of friendship win. It also was a power of old man Shuck's legs win. Who knew that he could scamper like that? Good for him, and something that I'm sure Titans fans wouldn't mind seeing when he comes to Nashville. So let's go ahead and ask the question, JT, and we can get into whether or not we think the Titans will actually lose out, and then we'll talk about whether or not they'll get their wish. What's more important? That's our question this morning. What's more important, winning one more game or the number one overall draft pick? It's time to stake your claim on one side or the other of this debate with a month left to go. Are you primarily rooting for wins for this young core to develop, or are you primarily rooting for draft wins to get the best possible pick and trade for a haul, right? There's a pretty big difference between trading down from 1 and then picking 4 and 26 and in the second and next year and like all of the picks you'd get and just picking 4th. There's a big old difference there. So I'll send you to the chat, JT. Where are people coming down on this debate?
Yeah, I just sent it in the chat, so we may need to vamp here for a second because I also, Austin would be proud of me, also set up a YouTube poll for this. So look at me doing all of these things this morning.
It's going to be a pay raise, young man.
Hey, we're out here grinding, trying to make this show not just a phone it in Tuesday, but we get a couple answers here.
Trying to make up for our
trying to make
stinks.
up for it. Rooney kicks us off and says winning. Nero says winning. Titans Kyle says he wants the draft pick. Corey says it's always winning. Jack says I'd rather lose out, but if we eliminate the Chiefs, he'd be happy.
I did begin workshopping that take during the Chiefs' downfall on Sunday Night Football. I said Titans officially eliminate Chiefs from playoff contention in Week 16. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's on the board. It's on the board.
Exactly. But he still says he wants the pick. Andre says the pick. We need talent. Big wants to win more games. Hello Lady says the pick. Caps wants the best draft pick. Jimmy says he wants the win. Darren says the future roster is more important. Jason says one more win is pointless. Winning out would be meaningful. So if they're going to win, he wants them to win more than just one game on the way out here.
I think that's fair. Like lose out or win out, you know?
That's fair.
If you're going to win, go big and have if they won out, they'd suddenly have like the 14th pick or something. Can you imagine?
How many
Not
games
that bad,
left?
right?
It'd be 4 games left, so it'd be 6.
They get to 6 wins.
Yeah,
that's at least the 10th pick.
It's like 10th, 11th. So, which the Titans over the last couple of years have been right around there, and if that's worked out wonders for them. Wink,
right.
Wink, nod. So
another Peter Skoronski, perhaps.
Yeah, another Peter Skoronski. That's what this team needs. D-Dread says, I want the Titans to win and build confidence. There's more ways to get draft capital. David says draft pick and trade out. Number 1 pick. Eric says winning more games. We'll be fine in the draft. Sharman says get the W so that they can get an edge, O-line, or wide receiver between 5 and 10. Darius says, I'm sorry, draft pick. You need multiple swings for the rebuild. MB says, draft, this isn't even a question for him. Guy says the number 1 pick. Richard says the win is always more important to him. Ashley says the win. Edward says a draft pick. They might butcher. Winners win. So there you go. That's a different way to look at that here. Sure. Jimmy says he'd rather have 3 to 4 extra picks than 1 more win. So it sounds like he wants to tank for that draft pick and then get more picks out of that. Edward win. That's why they play the game. Rachel says that they need to know how it feels to win. So it's kind of split, I would say, let me look at what the early returns on this poll here, with 53 votes. We need more votes in that poll, by the way.
It's baby's first poll, guys. Give him some votes.
Yeah. Baby's first poll. And this is a good one. 54% right now say draft pick. 46% say win games. That one has continued to teeter back and forth here. So we'll see where that ends up. But for the moment, it's very, very close. This is one of the questions that we've had here that may be the most contested.
Wow. So we are split. My answer is that the more important thing for the long-term health of the Titans, I think inarguably, is the draft pick. But I hate the binary of this question because that doesn't mean that winning is unimportant. You hear what I'm saying? I think that both are a benefit to the Titans, and unfortunately, you'd love to have both. It's too late to have both. The Titans kind of squandered their opportunity for wins to mean something for them this year. By this point, that doesn't mean that any wins down the last month of the year aren't meaningful, but they I guess my point is, if the Titans had done some scrappy winning early, they wouldn't have pissed anybody off. It would have been exciting. Now that they've waited this long and brought the top draft pick into question, now they're going to piss a lot of people off by winning, which that's unfortunate for them. But when we talked about this, what was it, last week with Dane Brugler's mock draft came out, and we looked at his mock trade for the Titans moving down from the first pick, and then I looked at the math on the Titans' actual trade 10 years ago when they moved down in the 2016 draft with the Rams. That was kind of the high end and the low end of what the trade value would be, right? And we talked about why Dane Brugler's trade probably not enough, because the surplus value of that trade was like the 24th overall pick, a late first round pick. And then the math on the Titans' actual trade, the surplus value there was like getting the 12th and the 13th pick, two mid-high first rounders. So the point is, whether it's the low-end trade you'd get or the high-end trade, we're talking about the value of an additional first-round pick or two that hangs in the balance for the Titans right now. And when you look at this roster, it is impossible to ignore how meaningful that would be for this rebuild. They need that. We know that the front office and Chad Brinker, they have explicitly said, hey, we want, 30 swings in the next 3 years, and we want 12 of them to be top 100 picks. They're not there, right? They're not scheduled for that. They need more top swings if they're going to reach that goal over the next 2 years. And there aren't a whole lot of avenues for them to do that besides trading down. They don't have valuable players to trade off of like the Jets did. They don't have any other opportunities besides splitting these picks. Here's my 2 cents though, is that I think really the only important thing for the Titans, if you are a team draft, is to lose out. Because as I pointed out at the top of this discussion, if you lose out, you are guaranteed to have the second overall pick at worst. You will either be the first or the second overall pick if you lose out, because the Giants and the Raiders play and somebody has to win. So it's not possible for them both to end ahead of you if you, the Titans, lose out. And I don't want us to overlook the value of the second overall pick, because I feel maybe too good at this point, JT, that the first 2 picks in this draft are going to be quarterbacks. It's going to be Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana, and it's going to be Dante Moore out of Oregon. And I know there's a lot of chatter, like, fair. I'm not discounting this entirely. There's a lot of talking about Dante Moore. He's going back to school. He's got years of eligibility left. He's not got a whole lot of experience as an actual starter. He's been in school. I mean, he's a guy that's weird. Like, he started and then rode the bench at a bigger school and then started again. So he's been around the block, but he's got more years of eligibility. And when you look at his profile from an experience standpoint, the history for guys that have had that little college experience then going to the NFL is bleak. It is. So, like, I understand that motivation for him to stay. But I also understand, I think, the way louder motivation of, brother, you're going to be the first or the second overall pick in the NFL draft. You got to strike while the iron's hot. And I don't think anybody in Dante Moore's camp is going to seriously convince him to go back to school if, when they do their evaluation with the NFL draft gurus and talk to teams and stuff, and it becomes very obvious, like, hey, at worst, you're the second overall pick. I just don't think he's going back. I know Todd McShay and insiders like him who have way better college sourcing than I do are pretty adamant at this point about he's going back. I just respectfully don't believe you. So if they both come out, that second pick is going to be valuable if you don't need a quarterback. It is. We saw last year the second overall pick for a non-quarterback get traded for a kingdom.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, that was a one-off player that certainly is not around, but
totally. But also not a quarterback.
Yes, very true. And who's to say? I understand there's a lot of conversation right now about Arvell Reese, but is he basically kind of a two-way player on one side of the ball in the sense that he can play almost any position? And is that coveted a little bit the same way And can
Well, I
that
don't
be
know. I
stolen?
saw on Twitter yesterday that actually he's maybe a no-way player because he's not been getting sacks and
Yeah.
pressures. I think he stinks now.
Yeah, either way, I think for to add to the Titans rooting guide that I'm currently
See,
building.
bingo,
here.
there it is. Tall Texan, also not very good at either position. Yep, Arvell Reese, bad football player. Can't draft him. Don't draft him.
This resume of a Titans fan rooting guide, if you want the best possible pick going forward here, is that not only are you rooting for specific games for the Giants and the Raiders and whatnot. He meant Hunter also on that one. He said,
Okay.
Hunter's
Hey,
not
fair enough. I mean, I still think you're crazy, but fair enough.
You as a Titans fan, if you have no dog in the race here for the college football playoffs, you want a Oregon masterclass all the way to maybe like the semis, if not the CFP. You want Dante Moore to play lights out because I do agree with
first
you.
Round?
They play JMU.
Yeah, so we need like a 52-0 unwatchable. I mean, just dreadful experience.
And then I believe the next game they'd play is like Alabama or the winner of Alabama Oklahoma. So like that's also one where like if you get like Alabama there and Dante Moore stomps on Ty Simpson, that also builds up that hype there for him to move.
What the spread is
forward.
In that JMU game? How many?
It's 21.5 already bet.
Oh, okay. That's less than I thought it was going to be, honestly. So I'm going to go bet that after the show.
The second it came out, I said, there's no line I would not take against JMU right now. I don't care who they play. I'm taking the line. Either way, I agree with you that the second overall pick is no consolation prize here because there is, with how many quarterback needy teams there are going to be, this is absolutely a year where someone does maybe overdraft a guy, even if it is not Dante Moore. Like there's a way that there's a quarterback that we're not currently talking about named Mendoza or Moore that ends up being the darling of this entire like class. And we see it year in and year out, like these risers that come up that maybe necessarily should. So sorry, Austin says Oregon has JMU than Texas Tech. So,
okay, so not the easiest, actually.
Not the easiest, but
so that first game is really important. We need to knock the snot out of JMU.
Yeah. Either way, if the Raiders end up getting the first overall pick, the second overall pick, if you are the Titans, is still, like I'm saying, not a consolation prize because then you hold the keys to the kingdom for every other quarterback needy team to come up and get their guy, you know? And so I think there is still absolutely a way for them to trade out of that second pick. Also with just how many the blue chip prospects this year are, I think, a little bit more abundant than they were last year. And I know blue chip has kind of lost its way, but like more so the high end talent that is going to be coming out in the 2026 draft is more abundant than it was last year outside of those top three in the, the Abdul Carter, Hunter, Cam Ward type of thing. So there's also the opportunity that someone wants to come up to get a player that isn't a quarterback. I think it's still very possible that if the second overall pick is what the Titans end up with, it's not the end of the world.
Impromptu question that I want to ask you in the chat, and if you wouldn't mind, JT, putting this in the chat as I dictate it to you. What do you think's going to happen? We've got a month left. Let's just throw the predictions. Let's stake the flag today. What draft position, the pick? I want to hear. What pick will the Titans have a month from now after the dust has settled? We'll talk about that, and then we'll get to Cam Ward's attitude problems in scare quotes, and we'll close the book on that one. Let me tell you, while you guys are answering that question about our friends at Barton Drury Insurance Group, they are the best solution for all of your insurance needs here in the Middle Tennessee area. Check them out at bartondrury.com. They are truly a one-stop shop for both your personal and business insurance needs. They have over 40 years of serving Tennesseans. Austin and Zach bought from them when they needed corporate insurance for AtoZSports, and they loved the experience. Ton of options and plans available to them, a lot of different things they got to choose from. They were walked through all of it by the experts at Barton Drury. The experience that their service team has is top-notch, high level of expertise, high level of responsiveness. They sell everything from employee benefits to 401k planning, life insurance, workers' comp, liability, auto, property, umbrella, and surety bonds. They are local, so they strive to provide excellent service, but also they are going to take the time to make sure you understand your insurance policies, and that is really important. They offer customized solutions for all of your insurance needs at bartondrury.com.
Yeah, so shout out our friends BTA Sports. We are powered by BTA Sports. BTA, where insight meets instinct. Use that code when you sign up to get a 14-day free trial. That code being AtoZSports. Then $79.99 for the entire year. That is the best deal that you're going to get around town right now with BTA Sports. That includes your 14-day free trial, all of next year's basically season up to week 16, which is an immense value. And then MLB coming out this spring, going to be a lot of fun betting with them. As you said, you betting on the downfall of the Mets, me trying to bet on the hope of the Mets, and then also ending up without my money because the Mets take everything that I love. But you can do that if you believe that the Mets are going to be bad, of which I'm sure BTA Sports will believe that. You can bet alongside them. Smarter bets, better insight. That's with our friends at BTA Sports.
Yeah, I checked the BTA app this morning, and under
the
will the Mets be bad, they said 74% chance. So shaping up to be a good year for me. I'll send you to the comments. I asked the impromptu question, not a part of our plan, but I'm just curious. What pick will the Titans end up with in a month in the NFL draft?
Yeah, Jack says 3. Vanessa says 4. Big says number 2. Orlando says 3, 3, 4, 3, 4, 2 or 3. He thinks they beat the Saints. 2, 4, 2. Corey says 5. The second pick, 3. Jeff also thinks 5, 3 or 4, and get played for a trade back, and we are going to be pissed. Already doom posting and projecting here.
Wow.
down the line. Ashley says 5. Jason says 3rd. They probably beat the Saints. 4. We're going to win 1 or 2 more. Brad says 3 or 4. Bork says 7th. Top 5. Titans beat Kansas City and the Saints here.
Love.
Jason says 1 to 2 more wins, maybe. So what pick that puts at? Did not answer the question. Thank you, Jason, as all. Amnesia says the 26th overall pick. I don't know if he's projecting a trade back already, or
I don't think that's possible without a trade, but
just the power of friendship they're going to get to there. And then Max is believing that they are going to have the number 1 overall pick.
I am surprised by how many people said the 3rd pick, because I don't think that's really. I mean, it's technically possible. I don't think it's realistically possible, JT. I think they either get the 2nd pick
or the 5th
or something way down the line. So the 4th through 8th pick right now, and of course this will change with a month left of football, but the 4th through 8th pick are the 3-win club. We know that with the Titans' strength of schedule, which it's fair to point out, we've not mentioned this yet, there are some teams in the top 10 whose strength of schedule is creeping up on the Titans. Namely the Cardinals, who are at the bottom of the 3-win club. They're really the only team that's close right now at 5-7-0. Titans at 5-7-5. But if they win another game, let's say that puts them middle of the pack of the 3-win club, because we're expecting half of these teams to get another win, right? We're looking at the 5th or 6th pick. So that's my answer. I think I'd be a fraud at this point to not continue beating the drum that I've been beating since the bye, that this team will win their way out of the 1st pick. They will win a couple of games at least. I said 3, so I think that's still on the board, but probably unlikely. I do think that they are more likely to win a 2nd game than they are to win no more games. I still feel that way. And so if that happens, I think they'll pick 5th. I'll say 5th.
I think I'm with you. I think we circle that one big game there with the current number 5 overall pick. New Orleans is going to be massive for this. I like your little fantasy idea of the Titans eliminating the Chiefs. I don't think that's going to happen. This is going to be.
But I am rooting for it.
Yeah, this is it for the Kelsey Mahomes connection. If I had to guess, I imagine he will ride off into the sunset marrying his billionaire wife, and not play another down of football. So this is it for them. And I think you're not going to have a snowball's chance in hell in that game. If I'm being frank, you have the 49ers this week, which I think that is also a loss. So you're coming down to 2 games, right? You're coming down to the Saints, which I think is going to be such a fascinating game to watch. And then you have the Jaguars, which currently are the leaders in the division. And that one, to me, is going to be also very interesting because at that point, do the Jaguars have anything to play for? And I understand it's in Jacksonville, but that's also going to be, I think, going to be a very winnable game, even though they got their butts handed to them in the first matchup. I don't know exactly how many players they actually played based on where they are. If their seating is locked up at that point and they have indeed won the division, I think they could rest their starters. And so then you're looking at a 4 and same record as last year, 4-13 team, which last year was good enough for the first overall pick. But this year, as we once again bring up and people start to look at in the comments, like there could be a lot of 4-13 teams this year.
I think there will be a lot of 4-13
which
teams.
is pretty crazy considering what it was last year. And so 4-13, if you're the Titans, probably lands you the 5th or 6th overall pick.
If I had to set the odds right now for the Titans' final draft pick, the best odds.
Oh, I guess were they 3-14 last year?
They were 3-14.
Dyslexia.
It's all right. I think their best odds are to have the 5th pick or worse. I think next best is the 2nd pick, and then I think the long shot, well down the line, is the 1st pick.
Yes. And once again, for people that need to know, your rooting guide is Giants win the next 2 games, lose against the Raiders, and honestly win against the Cowboys. They go 3-1 down the stretch. Raiders go 1-3.
It's not even that complicated. I mean, that's your overall rooting guide, but if you want the Titans to get the number 1 pick, the simplest path is literally Giants beat the Commanders this week. The Raiders beat the Giants 3
and
weeks
the Titans
from now,
lose out.
and the Titans lose out. That 1, 2, 3. That's a, you knock those 3 pins down and you get the 1st pick back. But they say parlays are what build the casinos in Vegas. I don't think that parlay is hitting. I think the book is taking your money on that one.
That's fair.
So now that JT is being raptured once again on a Phone It In Tuesday, so it's of course it wouldn't be a Phone It In Tuesday without some rapturous light. We'll move on to Cam Ward's winning attitude. I know we talked about this. You guys talked about this yesterday, but I didn't get to chime in, and I had a very different opinion than what you guys talked about. Austin and I on the phone yesterday trying to plan content. Occasionally we'll run up against roadblocks because if we're super duper not on the same page about something, it's well, I guess I just have to go do it on my own because Austin can't help, and that was the case. We couldn't have disagreed on this topic more, which I think makes for an interesting conversation. And I wrote an article that I want to talk through some things we heard from folks. We got some video to play you from Mike McCoy, a young player, an older player, and I'll share my 2 cents, and then we'll ask you guys one last question and get out of here with shade. We'll do all of that after I tell you about our friends at Window Nation as that rapturous light comes in through.
Jeff says, I need to throw shade on that window. Maybe with our friends at Window Nation.
That's right. I think Window Nation could improve the quality of that light coming in and gracing your face this morning. They are the destination for all of your window needs here in the Middle Tennessee area. We know that Austin just secured his Window Nation deal with his whole house redoing those windows, and he still can't stop talking about how incredible these windows are. They genuinely have changed his life, and they can change your life too. They are offering an end-of-year sale at Window Nation through the rest of the month, 50% off of all window styles, and you could get 0% interest financing for 5 years, which is basically forever, if we're being honest. Schedule a fast and free estimate. Did I mention it's free? Now with the pros at Window Nation, they'll show you what they could do for your place. They'll give you the options. You can talk. They have demo windows that can show you firsthand what you'd be getting. Austin talked about that when he had that sit down, and it was informative and helpful and a no pressure, no risk situation. At least let them explain to you how much your life could be better. Call 866-90-NATION today or go to windownation.com to replace those old builder grade crappy windows with custom built high quality windows from Window Nation.
Powered by BTA Sports. Once again, code ATOZ when you download the app for a 14-day free trial. $79.99 after that. Or if you don't want to commit to that, I understand. But you can use our other code, ATOZ14, when you download the BTA Sports app. You'll still get that 14-day free trial. And then it's a weekly subscription of $9.99. If I am me, which I am, I know which one I'm taking there.
If I'm me.
BTA Sports, once again, is not a sports book. They're just the tool that helps you win more than you lose. They're here to help us beat the books, not work with them, and that's why we trust them every single week with a lot of our lines that we are betting here, which, by the way, I think we are both now above 500 on our betting gauntlet back and forth every week. So
Order
good
restored.
for us. And we use our friends at BTA Sports to help us every single week. So check them out at the link in the description or the link right below the show title.
We told you people that we would get back to
We
money
would.
making if it killed us. You needed to trust the process. The Best Bet Gauntlet has a rich history of winning, and this year will be no different. And we have accomplished that so far. Just got to end the year strong. All right, so yesterday on the 104.5 morning show, Ramon and Will Bowling shared something that he shouldn't have, and that's an entire different conversation that we won't get into today. But he shared an anecdote that is useful for our purposes from the team plane ride back from Cleveland, in which resident comedian of the team, Arden Key, breaking, made a joke. Now, he shouldn't have said this on principle, because he shouldn't have said something that happened on the plane ride. The nature of what he said is like the smallest potatoes in the world, and that's why I don't think there's any point dunking on Will. People should let it go. It's been handled. Because breaking news, Arden Key told a joke. It's a day that ends in Y. But he got on the team intercom and said, and I'll read this from the article verbatim. Arden Key got on the intercom and says, "You all enjoy this. Don't listen to what Cam said. You all enjoy this. It's hard to win in this league. Enjoy it." And he said so in a very joking, ribbing, giving Cam a hard time nature. But as Ramon Foster on the show, and credit to him for this, because I mentioned this in the article, and he said he deserves writer credit. So this is your credit here, Ramon. He said there's truth in every joke, of course. The truth to this is what we heard from Cam Ward in his post-game press conference that caught a lot of people off guard. And here are a couple of I know you guys played some of this yesterday, but I'll just read a couple of the quotes that were kind of surprising from Cam. Again, after a win, he gets to the podium, and he says, okay, here we go. He says, "It feels good to win. But, winning still hides stuff. There's a lot of flaws that we've got to continue to get over personally, and then just as a team. And we've got to come out next week with the right mindset." He also attributed the victory to, quote, "playing good enough football for 3 quarters. We did not play our best ball in the 4th quarter, and that's just something that, as players, we've got to hold ourselves to that standard. We've got to not have a play off here or there. We've got to continue to communicate at a high level in all 3 phases." And perhaps the most surprising of the quotes, the one that got the most play, was when he was asked about how badly they needed a win. He said, "I really didn't need it. I treat the wins the same. I treat the losses the same. There's always something that I have to do better. It's a lot of plays that I missed out there just from not giving my receivers a chance. And really, I wake up tomorrow, I'm going to do the same thing I did last week, which is try to get better." Now, on that front, and I know Austin took great issue with this yesterday, I do not, personally. First of all, this is Cam's MO. I have listened to him. I have, excuse me. I have spoken with him all year long, and every time he's at the podium, this is the way that he operates. He refuses the premise of your question for the most part. He does so in a respectful way. But when you try to lead the witness, he does not play ball very often. And so his natural instinct is, if you ask a question of, was it more this or is it more this? Cam's going to say, "I think it's a mix. I think it's really both of those things." If you ask him, about how important something is or how badly you needed something, he's going to generally say, I don't know if we needed it that bad. We're just doing our job trying to stay consistent. He does not want to be pigeonholed. And that's just the way that he operates. And so that's why I think when he made this comment, it didn't really register with me as some big deal. Now, is it silly? Yes. It's mainly silly because it's categorically false. Like he's lying here by his own words, by his own standard that he's set. Because for weeks now, he has been talking to us at the podium about how this team's singular goal is to win games and that winning is all that matters. Winning is the only thing that I care about. And so then when you finally win, to begin the question with, I didn't really need it. Like, you're lying. Of course, we don't believe you. But I just think that's his instinct to say that. And what he said after that first part, which is missing the mark, where he says, I treat the wins the same, I treat the losses the same, there's always something that I have to do better. This is where, and as I wrote yesterday, I think that this was an imperfect messenger delivering a perfect message. Because the way that this attitude, these comments from Cam read to me, and this is what I find interesting about this, because I don't think Austin and folks that took issue with this are crazy at all. I understand your point of view, and I think there's a chance that Austin's right, because if the majority of this demeanor from Cam is rooted in selfishness, is rooted in immaturity, childishness, being upset that your buddy Shadir outplayed you in the game, or being upset that you didn't play a little bit better or have a gaudier stat line, like, if that's what it's about, then Austin's right. Then it's a whack attitude for your starting quarterback to have. Got to cut that out. That needs to be struck from the record ASAP. And it's impossible for any of us to know. We're all speculating on that, right? But that's why I say it's an imperfect messenger delivering a perfect message. Because to me, the message here, whether Cam intentionally meant it or maybe mostly meant it or kind of meant it, is that this team needs a standard. This team needs to have a winning culture. And something that has frustrated me, that I think Cam Ward, I'm not sure anybody but Cam Ward at this point can be the one to pull this team up out of this, is that this team has had, for the past couple of years, a participation trophy, moral victory, loser mentality. And that's harsh, but I think that's just the honest reality of it. I think back to the Houston win last year, when they're basically popping bottles in the locker room, and Miss Amy's down there, and we're hugging and shaking hands, and we did it for Amy, and they're jazzed that they, that game got them to what, like 2-10 or whatever. And then the next week they go to Washington and get throttled, total no-show. They're down 30 points in the first 10 seconds of the game. And afterwards we're talking about how they were suffering from success, which is a hilarious thing for a 2-win team to be doing. We've got people complaining about how cold it was when it was 43 degrees. Like, it was a lot of bad looks. Then you go to this season, they win in Arizona, and then they kind of no-show against the dreadful Raiders the next week. Kind of the same deal, unable to stack wins to find success going forward. But I think the moment this year that was more impactful or memorable to me on this front is the Seahawks game, JT. And we talked about this on the show. Like, I went down into the bowels of Nissan Stadium after that game. A game they lost by 6 points, 7 points. They lost by a full touchdown, or nearly a full touchdown. They weren't really in it. Like, they kept it close, but there wasn't any point in that game where we were like, are they going to win this? Are they really going to, they just were, they were kind of trailing and keeping it close the whole game. And Cam looked good. And there were plenty of reasons for optimism. But in the post-game press conference with Mike McCoy, you could have sat there and been fooled into thinking they won the game. I mean, he was the whole week he was very chipper. He was very proud of what his team had done. And some of this is like fair. It's fair to be proud of your team.
Very proud that he was able to finally go for it on 4th down.
This is right. Thinking about the media as he's down there coaching, which is hilarious. And then in the locker room, it seemed like a bunch of guys that were really pleased with themselves. And again, I'm not trying to say that they need to be miserable in every single loss. That's not my point. My point is that at some point, if you're going to graduate as a franchise from the kiddie table, where you've been at the head of the kiddie table for a couple of years now, if you're ever going to actually be considered a competitor in the NFL, I'm not even talking about competing for a Super Bowl or competing for the playoffs. I just mean like week in, week out, teams think there's a chance they could lose to you. If you're ever going to be that team again, you have to have a standard. And somebody has to set that for this team. And Mike Vrabel was great at this. Something that you hear a lot of pro golfers talk about, which on a hole-to-hole basis is neutrality. I know that this was a big thing for Russell Wilson a couple years ago too, and he was a big sideshow for the media. Not getting too high, not getting too low. Mike Vrabel, very notably, when guys were riding high, he would humble them at the podium and not lean into talking glowingly about them. But then when guys were playing really poorly, he would pick them up and talk about the things that they do well and how valuable they are to the team. And I think that that's an important thing. You need a messenger like that on your team. Now, unfortunately, right now for the Titans, they don't have anybody in position that has that kind of juice, that has that kind of power on paper, or just in terms of gravitas in the locker room. It's kind of Cam. Like it's Jeff and it's Cam, but Cam's the quarterback, so it's Cam, and he's got that natural mindset, that kind of no nonsense dog mindset to him, and that I don't think anybody thinks is phony. People may think it's annoying or grating at times, and in this instance, I do wonder. I think there were some people in the building, on the team and on the coaching staff or whoever, that were not happy with the way that he conducted himself after this game. Not some end of the world thing, but just like, come on, Cam, like time and place for these things. But if the message he's trying to send is, hey, maybe we shouldn't be resting any of our laurels on what really should have been a Browns comeback to force an overtime and then maybe a win, right? Like they really did play poorly in the fourth quarter. They really did almost let the Browns get back into it if it weren't for the Browns playing for the win and doing the 2-point gambit. Maybe that's not what the standard round here should be, because the Browns, as we talked about before that game, are a sorry team, just like the Titans are. They are a sorry, bad team. So that's just kind of my spiel on it, and that's my perspective on it. And so that's enough monologuing for me, JT. I want to hear your 2 cents on it. But we've also got some clips to play from players and coaches. So whichever order we'd like to do that in, you let me know.
Yeah, I'll say my 2 cents to that as well, because and unfortunately, once again, this issue that was brought to my attention yesterday and the way that he conducted himself, I wasn't too on either side. Like, I understand where you're coming from. I understand where Austin's coming from. My main point, in which I guess grouped me into the Austin category there, and I was being called a clown so much. Call me Pennywise, the way that I apparently am a clown.
Welcome to Derry, the way I'm a clown.
Yeah. The one point that you hit on the head there, which is it's an imperfect messenger, because the message can be well and fine, but the way that he has talked about almost needing a win over the past 6 to 7 to 8 weeks, and how much like they just want to win, and then you finally get a win and you dismiss it, I think is, especially when, once again, maybe he's not maybe he's not the guy you want right now to be that leader. Is he the basically the head talking point of this team right now? It is unfair to him to be thrust into this position, but it's a position that he has to take, and that honestly, it's just the reality of the facts. You are the number 1 overall quarterback pick of the worst team in the league, or at least one of the worst teams in the league, with no real culture. You're going to be thrust into that position, and unfortunately, there's just going to be higher standards than kind of developing as a leader. You kind of unfortunately have to take the insurmountable task of being that perfect leader from the get-go. And that's not what Cam is right now. He's still learning. And like you said, he's an imperfect messenger here. And which is why I understand where Cam's coming from. Cam is always going to want to be better. And I do think that there is parts of Cam that wished he would have played better on Sunday, but also for the outlook of your team and from a national standpoint, from a fan base standpoint, you want to be able to celebrate your wins. My one question is, when will Cam be able to actually celebrate a win? If it's not now, right? Like, what's it going to take for him to
The Chiefs, week 16.
Yeah, exactly, right? There you go. What is it going to take for Cam to be satisfied with a win? Because I don't know if this was exactly the same. I don't remember exactly what his messaging was after the first win, but I certainly don't remember it being like this way,
Right.
I think he was pretty pleased, and that is a game where he sort of carried them on his back to put them in a position to win, whether you count the bounces that they got with the interception, fumble, touchdown, or the DeMarcado fumble, but he was a big part of driving them down the field to win that game late. And so he directly had an impact on that game. So if it is Cam getting a win while also playing good,
Mm-hmm.
I understand that's what he wants the standard to be. That's just not how the NFL works, though. And that's kind of the main point I tried to make yesterday, is that as much as I'm fine, I'm not saying that I hate the way Cam Ward carries himself or anything like that. I think it's a very, honestly, a mature way to do it at such a young age with where he is right now in the league. But it's never going to be perfect. And so you have to take the good with the bad and just celebrate a win when you get them. Because like they said yesterday, and we'll get to some of these clips, winning is hard in the NFL. It's not always ever going to be on you. It's still a team sport.
Yep, we are up against it with time, but I do want to get to our last question and hear from you guys and play these clips before we get to some throw-in shade today. So I'm going to ask the question in the chat right now. Has your opinion shifted about Cam Ward's winning post-game reaction with more information? Give us your 2 cents on the Cam Ward attitude, and then we'll close the book on that for this week, and we will get to these clips from his teammates, which I think are a good way to end that discussion. But first, let me tell you about our friends over at Botero Carts. 2 locations to serve you. They are a local dealership selling all kinds of golf carts, whether you are trying to find the most cost-efficient cart on the market or the highest-end, bougiest, hey, look at me, look at my sick golf cart on the market. They've got you covered at Botero Carts with 2 locations to serve you in Columbia and in Gallatin. Full-service sales and rental dealership, locally owned and operated. What more could you ask for? No dealer fees, no credit card fees. Their carts start at just $6,800, and they offer 0% financing for 36 months. That's 3 years, no additional fees. There's even a no credit needed option if you are needing that. So life is short. Buy a golf cart with our friends at Botero Carts.
Yeah, once again, powered by BTA Sports. Use that code ATOZSports when you download the app. Use that link in the show description or right below the title on Facebook. BTA Sports, where insight meets instinct.
So here's Mike McCoy on Cam's attitude, and then we'll hear from a couple of his teammates.
Yeah, you want to enjoy every win in this business. It's never easy. It's tough to win in the NFL week in and week out, but he's a competitor. And Cam wants to be great. He wants to play great every week. And, there's times where, if you don't play the way, he's not going to sugarcoat sometimes what he says and how he plays and his opinion on things. But it's about winning. That's the number one thing. And you always talk to the players about that as, hey, listen, there's going to be the ups and downs. It's not always going to be perfect. But, hey, as long as you find a way to win, you learn from it and you move on. That was a great challenge for our offense and Cam, obviously, with all the man coverage and playing against the best pass rusher and Miles and the way the guys played and kind of neutralized him from the game. But it's about winning, and Cam knows that, but he's a competitor.
Now let's hear from yeah.
Back up, old man. Thanks, Grandpa. Mike, back up. Why is he so close to the camera?
First trying to smell.
Someone's got it. It's like he's never been on a Zoom before. Like
which is possible. Let's hear from a member of the young player contingent and a member from the veteran contingent on this topic. Here's what Marcus Harris, rookie cornerback on this team, starter now on defense, had to say about Cam Ward's demeanor.
Yeah, I think what we've been preaching as a rookie class, just when we meet together and come together, is that we have 2 wins now. The record's not where we want it to be, but we gotta treat this the same way and remember this if we were, say, a 10-win team. So I think that mindset Cam had, it was a good mindset. But then as some of the other guys were expressing how difficult it is to win, and that's another part that we understood. But I think it was just holding ourselves to a high standard. That was all that was.
And here's one of those other guys that was talking about how hard it is to win in this league, a guy who's been around the block, veteran safety Xavier Woods.
I definitely understand where he's coming from. You know, he's a quarterback. We didn't win. I mean, just speaking on the defense, we didn't win the full quarter. We wanted to close it out, make it 31-17, I think is what it was, or something like that. We allowed those 2 touchdowns. So we didn't close out the way we wanted to. So that was kind of the disappointment. I think that was the sentiment that he was trying to relay. And then we also told him wins is hard to come by in this league. You celebrate all of them, no matter who it is. No matter who it is or who it's against. You celebrate all the wins. And then we know that, the win wasn't disappointing. There's no such thing as a sorry win, or however you want to call it, but a win is a win at the end of the day. But I definitely understand the sentiment that he was coming from. We didn't win where we wanted to. We didn't close out the game where we wanted to. But we definitely going to 24 hours celebrate that 24 hours.
JT, let's check the chat. What are people saying about our final question for the day? Has your opinion shifted about Cam Ward's winning post-game reaction with more information?
This may be the first instance in the history of AtoZSports asking questions that it's a full unanimous answer from the chat. Everyone has said no, which I think everybody has been on the same page that they believe that Cam was right to do that. And so no, no change to their opinion whatsoever. So.
All right. We ready to throw shade then?
Yeah, well, a couple of super chats before we get going. I mean, that's the easiest. That's the easiest way you can do it, right? Like,
Aaron, I appreciate you streamlining that for us.
Yeah, I mean, King VC says once again, lock in like the show. We appreciate you once again, always and forever. And then Andre Bunting says, remember with the super chat $5. Thank you, Andre. Remember the wins that cost us Stroud, so we got Levis, or the wins that cost them Neighbors/Alt, so they got JC Latham instead. A fleeting, warm, fuzzy feeling is not worth the future of this team, says Andre, which I think
a fair perspective. I hear what he's saying.
Yeah.
Okay, throwing shade time. Let's throw shade. Shout out to our friends at Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process in person in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. It's time to throw that shade in the chat. We'll give you a second to get whatever's on your chest off your chest. What is annoying you on this fine Tuesday morning? Let us know in the comments. JT, I can go ahead and share my shade to give some folks time to answer that question. My shade's a predictive shade today. It is a thing that I am expecting to be annoyed by. I am not yet annoyed by it because it has not happened. But I feel that it inevitably will happen. And the thing that I'm annoyed by is the Colts choosing not to bring Phillip Rivers back to play the rest of the year. Because I need this in my life. I need the 44-year-old, newly minted 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, a grandfather now, to be playing 44.
He's 44?
He turned 44 yesterday. He is a grandfather. His eldest, who now has a child, his eldest son or daughter, the eldest child, I believe is Riley Leonard's age, the Colts third stringer who is also hurt, and it's difficult for them to know if he can play or not. So it would be the greatest park and bark experience in NFL football history. You've ever heard that term before, where guys just like,
yes,
that's what Adele does. If you've ever seen an Adele concert, she's a park and bark singer. She's not dancing. There's no pyrotechnics or backup dancers or choreography. She's up there doing the thing. It's about the voice. That's what we would get from Phil Rivers if he came back. By the way, for the first time in half a decade, the last time he played football was the COVID season, 2020. You know what's happened since then? A whole lot of things. I got engaged and then enjoyed a year-long engagement and then got married and then enjoyed 18 months of marriage before I then had my first child and then celebrated that child's first birthday. And 2 seasons of Stranger Things happened in there. So only 2, but they did get to 2 of them. There has been a long time.
Are you counting season 5? Because that's like half a season.
Good point. Good point.
One and a half.
One and a half seasons of Stranger Things will come out in that
who
time.
knows? Maybe they won't sign Philip until week 18.
Until Christmas.
Yeah.
They worked him out last night, and apparently he was throwing the ball well. I'm surprised that for 5 years he's stayed in. I mean, I guess if you got the arm, you still got the arm. I don't know what kind of shape he's in. Like, can we get a mile time? Let's get a public mile time on Phil Rivers. Can he run faster than a 8-minute mile? Maybe that's the bar to clear. Is Phil Rivers older than Chris Ballard? No, but they're roughly. I mean, I bet they can relate to a number of things. They probably have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
So that's what's annoying to me. I want it. I need it. It would be incredible. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it happened. I'm surprised that they're this desperate, to be honest. I mean, it's kind of hard not to just call it a season, pack it in, right? At this point.
Oh, it is. I mean, whether they bring Phil in or not, the season's over. It would be a way funnier end of the season.
Andrew Luck's only 36. That's
Good
all I'm
point.
going to say. What's Ryan Tannehill up to?
Listen, Tannehill, if Tannehill's in shape, I would actually be calling Ryan Tannehill. No, I don't think he wants to do it. But
Either way, what's Brett Favre up to these days? So, there's my timer.
I know some of the things Brett Favre's up to. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think he's busy.
Yeah, I'd love to see it just for my pure entertainment.
Right.
And so that would be fun here.
At what point is it tantamount to elder abuse? Like, he is a grandfather. The second he gets hit for the first time,
He's
he
a
breaks 7
grandfather at
ribs.
44.
Yeah.
It's like young Sheldon going to college at like 9.
Nick Wright just became a grandfather. Did you know that?
How old is he?
40 or 41. Yeah.
We're so unserious. All right. Anyways.
I could theoretically become a grandfather that young. I had my first child at 24 years old. I bet I'm a grandfather by the time I'm 50.
Weird. Okay. Either way, let's get some other shades here. Jack says preview of his shades. He said early in the show, he said shade on 1, his neighbor, 2, Notre Dame, 3, Skip Bayless. Let's get to him. He says shade on 1, Notre Dame. You missed the playoffs, cry about it, and accept the bowl game 2.
Losers.
My neighbor doing nothing to quiet her barking dog all night.
Loser.
And 3, Skip Bayless. Shadur played well. He's not Tom Brady.
I will not call Skip a loser. Skip's incredible. I can't believe. Talk about a guy that's still doing the thing. Skip still got his fastball.
There's a lot of shade on Notre Dame here today. Do I want it? I'm going to do it.
Do it. Are you going to defend Notre Dame?
I am.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, I'm not the biggest college football person. And so, I'm not
Right.
going to claim that I am one of these all-knowing, this is what the committee should have done if I were on the committee. But just objectively looking, and I understand that they were next to each other, right? Like in a lot of rankings, and they have the head-to-head. But objectively, Notre Dame lost to Miami week 1 with a rookie, like a redshirt freshman quarterback that had never played.
Mm-hmm.
They are a totally different team than they were in week 1. And I understand they played. And so they lose to a top 5 ranked Miami team. Then the next week they lose in overtime to a top 5 ranked Texas A&M who's in the playoffs. Meanwhile, Miami lost to SMU and Louisville. I mean, maybe
Everyone
I don't
agrees. No one disagrees that Notre Dame's clearly the better team, but that's not the point. The committee doesn't care about the better teams. If they cared about the better teams, Vandy and Texas would be playing, but they're not.
Yeah. So maybe that I don't understand. So and then you get into how the committee believed that to be the case until the last second and they move them around.
But the committee's a joke.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
It's the worst postseason in all of sports.
I'm not too upset at Notre Dame also not being in a bowl game because
they're losers for that.
I mean,
we hear these guys all year long. It's like anytime, any place, line it up. We'll go play in a parking lot if we have to. And some of them mean it. The folks at Notre Dame,
Notre Dame does not.
They don't mean it.
I don't really care.
Here's the real shade, by the way, Notre Dame. I'm sure you saw this. The thing that goes into effect next year, where if Notre Dame is ranked in the top 12, they automatically get a spot. And so if what happened this year was actually next year, then the 11th ranked Miami team would have been automatically bumped for the 12th ranked or the 13th ranked Notre Dame team or whatever. Like for whatever reason, they are the golden child conference-less team of college football. They're the only team that gets an auto bid if they're just in the top 12, which is crazy town.
Yes.
And then you go look at their schedule next year. It's like, well, who do they play? They're not going to lose next year. They play Panera Bread State every weekend.
Hey, people are saying join a conference. They're playing the long game here. They are not joining a conference whatsoever.
No.
Jeff says JT is saying games don't matter. Yes, because if they did, Alabama wouldn't be in. Did you see how they played in that game?
Yeah.
In the SEC championship?
Right.
If they did, Alabama wouldn't be in, and that's a lot of them here. I mean,
And
shade
neither
on
would JMU, and
AQs
neither
for
would
the
Tulane.
CFP. Give us the best 12 team. Shade on the
Agreed.
committee for not dropping Bama after getting destroyed. Also shade on Notre Dame for throwing a hissy fit for not getting their way. Shade on the college football teams that are sitting out of bowl games. Shade
Here's
on
another shade for
Bandy
Notre
and
Dame.
bringing in Bama.
Another shade for Notre Dame. Did you see the thing where the Notre Dame's AD is like, we were galled by the way that the ACC was acting. I can't believe that they torched our relationship. There's been irreparable damage done to the Notre Dame ACC relationship, which what they're mad about is the ACC having the gall to actively promote an ACC team getting in the playoff over Notre Dame, notably not an ACC team. How dare they?
Yes.
Notre Dame.
That is quite funny.
Where's Ryan Roberts? Get him in here. Your boys are losers, Ryan.
Here's the funny thing though. I do have one extra shade here, and I know we're going long, and there's some other ones. Did you see the fact that there was a bunch of social media posts going around about how Miami's AD is on the college playoff committee, and everybody's like, "That's why Miami's in." My shade is on people forgetting that there are two Miamis. The Miami of Ohio AD is on the CFP committee, not the U. And
That's
so
really funny. And it also raises a bigger question. Why is Miami of Ohio's AD on the committee? Who are you?
Some smart people up there in Oxford, Ohio. So two Miamis, two Oxfords.
Hang on. Miami of Ohio is in Oxford?
Oxford, Ohio.
So where does the Miami part come from? Why are they?
Because there's the Little Miami River. It's like Native American territory.
So it's a river. It's based on a river. That's where the name comes from. Dumb name for a school.
They're the Ivy of the Midwest.
Are they?
That's what they say.
I mean, I guess the bar's real low. But
Ann Hirsch says, shade on the parking garage elevator in Cleveland that plummeted me and my wife to the basement and nearly killed us.
This feels like an exaggeration. You had a full Tower of Terror experience in a parking garage in Cleveland?
Crazy.
Really, Ann? If true, crazy.
Crazy.
That's Cleveland. That's Cleveland.
That's Cleveland for you. At least they're
buy
not
a house
Detroit.
for the price of a VCR.
There you go. Now you got it. Shade on the conspiracies about a
video.
plan to tank. Shade on fans wanting to tank losers.
Oh.
Shade Bork says shade on a coworker for trying to throw everyone else under the bus to get out of any blame. We're all on the ship together. Based.
Throw that guy under the bus. Turn
Nick says throwing shade at my mother-in-law who drove her SUV through a garage wall. So now she is staying with us temporarily, which is fun.
Oh no.
That's great.
Never go full The Bear season 2 episode whatever.
Yeah.
That's tough.
And then Andre saying shade on AtoZSports for not giving me exclusive access for the Gamma 11s on Saturday. If I knew what any of those words meant, I would be with you. I'd be with you.
I only know what JD Sports is because Amani Hooker is doing a charity Christmas event there tonight at Opry Mills. So
Anna Hirsch says, and there wasn't a basement, but the elevator had a big open glass back, so we saw ourselves going underground as a big crash and fast free fall happened. This is insane.
that is crazy.
And can I put you as? Are you going to be questionable for trivia tomorrow? Or are we going to have to put you on the? Is she doubtful for trivia? I'm sorry that happened. That sounds terrifying, but I'm glad you're okay because we need you. All right.
Probably. Not counting on her. So, all right, that's our show. Hey, long show today. Good show today. I've got prime time tonight. I'm going to head up to the facility here in a couple of minutes to talk to the coordinators. Some interesting things from that. Going to talk about, it'll be a variety show. It'll be a good time. It's always the best time of the week if you have questions for me or just want to chop it up, talk about literally any nonsense.
And so she's ready to roll. So
I know Rand will be there for that. So maybe we'll do trivia on prime time. Who knows? We'll have a good old time. Tonight, Same place, different time, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on the AtoZSports YouTube and Facebook accounts. I will see you then. JT and I will see you later this week on the morning show. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.